I'm Erin, I'm the co-convener of Out for Independence, and as the LGBTQ wing of the SNP, it's our job to represent the party's queer members and to convince our community to support the SNP and independence. It's presently a difficult time for our community. Hate crime against us is up, wait times to access the Sandyford's GIC are years long, and no new patients have been seen for months, and the Hive LGBT Centre has been subject to attacks and vandalism. Without rehashing the arguments of the past 2 weeks, we want to ask each candidate what you will do not only to safeguard LGBTQ rights in this difficult time, but to advance and expand them. Why should Out for Independence members vote for you, and what will you do to convince the queer community to vote for independence?
Thank you. Hamza?
Thanks, Erin. And look, I'm really keen to engage with Out for Independence and some of our other affiliated groups to look. All of us stood in a manifesto and got elected on a manifesto to continue that progressive agenda. I think we owe it to all the people of Scotland to see that through. I was also, of course, the Justice Secretary that brought in 2 laws that I would think that affect our LGBTQ community. First and foremost, the Turing Law, where men who were gay, who were convicted of historic crimes, unjustly convicted of historic crimes simply for being gay, I made sure they were pardoned under that law. The second law I brought forward was, of course, the hate crime bill, which extended the protections for LGBTQ plus people to ensure that they were safe from not just hate crime, not just incitement, but also stirring up offences as well. For me, I am unequivocal in my not just protection of those rights, but the advancement of those rights. And anybody here who thinks that rights cannot be rolled back, look what has happened in the United States, Roe versus Wade, when it comes to an attack on rights. We're living at a time when there's culture war after culture war, wedge issue after wedge issue being brought forward. If anybody thinks that somebody will not try to roll back on the rights of our minority communities, they are burying their heads in the sand. And I give you an absolute commitment. If, for example, somebody brings forward a bill to dismantle your rights and the rights of the members that you represent, I will stand against them. I won't allow your rights to be eroded. And there's a number of things I would do. One that I'm very happy to make sure I commit to is a ban on conversion practices. They are disgraceful. I have read some of the testimony from our LGBTQ plus members around conversion practices. If nobody's read them, I would encourage you to do so. It's horrendous. So you have my absolute full support in making sure that all minority rights, and the rights particularly of our communities, our LGBTQ plus community who feel under attack, I want them to be able to look me in the eye as First Minister, as leader of the country, and believe that they are no more than they are not morally inferior to me as a straight heterosexual individual. And I want to give them that absolute commitment. And so I'm committing to you to not just say that, not just to advance those rights, but to make sure we go further, and banning conversion practices is an important step for me.
Thanks very much. Ash?
Yeah, Erin, I'm a committed lifelong progressive. I wasn't in the Parliament at the time, I think it was 2014, but just to say that if I had have been there, I would have voted very happily for equal marriage. I want everybody in Scotland to be able to live their best life. I want everyone to be able to be their authentic self and to live in dignity and safety as well. I think protecting everyone's rights is very important, and if I'm the leader, I will see it as my duty to protect, uphold and advance the rights of all of us.
Thanks very much. Ash? Kate?
Thanks very much. Well, the mark of true progress, I think, is that Scotland is a place where all minorities, including the LGBT community, feel safe and secure. And the commitment I would make to Out for Indie is the same commitment that I just made to the YSI, which is that policy starts with listening, with engaging, and ensuring that our members, you and other members of Out for Independence, can shape the policies. Because ultimately, the party that we are a part of sets the policies, and the leader and government enacts and delivers those policies. And that's the approach that we need to take. And in terms of, you asked about 2 ways of advancing those rights further. And the 2 ways that I think, out of a number of other ways that I'm sure we could discuss at another point, is tackling hate crime and banning conversion therapy. Hate crime figures are quite clearly increasing. They are concerning. And I think that whilst we need to empower and resource the police to deal with that, it's also about looking at other ways to tackle hate crime, because it can't only be the police that tackle it, although they are on the front line when it comes to it. It's also about ensuring that in every environment, hate crime is not tolerated and is condemned and is tackled. The second thing is on conversion therapy, and I have given my unequivocal support to plans to ensure that we ban conversion therapy, because it is abhorrent, it has no place in modern Scotland, and it's certainly something that I'd be happy to work with yourself and other members of Out for Independence and other members of the SNP in Parliament to ensure that there is an effective ban.